Welcome to the channel, guys. We're installing an ETS intake on a 2022 WRX, specifically my VB WRX that I'm sitting on right now. And this is going to be a full installation, how-to, everything you need to know about installing the ETS intake on a VB WRX. We're also going to have a whole series on the ETS intake, whether that's first impressions, sounds, long-term reviews, running it without a tune, with a tune, running it on both, 0 to 60 times with both. We're going to do a whole analysis on this thing. It's going to be pretty cool, but here's the install. Let's get straight into it. I'm filming this beforehand because the install, I knew I wasn't going to have the effort to do an intro video. So let's get into mechanic mode for this channel and do this install. I'll see you guys in a second. All right, guys, we're going to start with the tools that you need to do this installation. So first two most important tools for this installation are going to be stub nose, Phillips, and flatheads. Then we're going to have a long extension tool. I've got 2 extensions here. We might get a third if we need it. Obviously, you need a ratchet to turn this. And then the hardest part about this entire install, if you have a front lip, and you're not on a flat surface, is getting this onto rhino ramps, which for me means taking my front bumper off. So I've got these 2 guys to take the front bumper off. That's by far going to be the hardest part about this install. I'm not looking forward to it, but it's just a reality. My driveway is not flat, so I need to put this on rhino ramps, and to do that, I gotta take the front bumper off. So yes, it sucks, but it's just part of what I gotta do. So we're gonna start by removing the stock air box, and what that's gonna involve at first is taking out these 2 little pop clips to get these guys pulled. And then our stock air box just gets pulled out like that. You can see it's got an opening. It just slides up and out. It's a good time to clean it too. We're gonna put this aside, and we're actually gonna put our pop clips back in so we remember where they are and where they go. But we're gonna put this to the side. Next, we're gonna remove our mass airflow sensor harness. And you just wanna be really cautious with this thing. Next is the most ridiculous contraption I've ever made. And we're gonna take these things out with our hand. These guys are the 2 bolts that hold it down. They're 10 millimeters. These come out. And then we're going to loosen our hose clamp that holds this guy in. And then right here we have a 10 millimeter bolt holding it in. We're just going to use a ratchet. Make sure the ratchet spins in the right direction. And then this whole thing should be able to come out. Move our massive extension. And our whole thing comes out. We're going to put that to the side. Now, I couldn't even tell you if we're going to reuse this clamp or not, but good clamp hygiene is to tighten it up so we don't lose it in the process and it doesn't come off. So I'm going to tighten it anyways. This is a good practice to have whenever you're working on cars or literally anything, just so you don't lose stuff. It's the same thing with bolts. I always put bolts back in their holes when I'm done. You see a lot of people doing that on engine builds. Obviously, we're not building an engine right now, but it's a good practice to have. Now, the rest of what we're gonna have to do is underneath the car. All right, so we're underneath the car right now, and instead of taking the front bumper off, all I've done is I've loosened the, loosened this guy here, and then I've dropped the tray. All you're gonna have to do this is you got 2 clips here, 1 clip on the side, and then you've got all the clips on your tray, including up into the wheel well, and all you got to do is drop it on one side. You're going to have to unclip a few on that side so you don't damage it, but you can let it hang like this. And then, because I'm just going to show you guys, because it's going to take a little bit of effort, you can see there's our intake pipe coming down. We're going to use a 10 mil to blast off that nut right there, which will loosen it. And then we're going to take it off the turbo inlet right there. And then we're going to turn, see if we can get that to focus, and then we're going to put together our ETS intake a little bit and then get it all installed in one. So I'm gonna impact that off, get that one done, and then we'll check in a second. Okay, so I take it back. This install is a lot more difficult than I had at first expected, with the fact that I don't have a lift. But let me tell you what I did. Let me show you, because I did something that is a little bit different from what everyone else is saying to do. So we're gonna try to get a peek at this. I gotta really look at what we're seeing here. So there we have our clamp. It's on our turbo inlet. So This was actually really challenging to get on and get everything to line up. So what I did here is everybody says to put these two guys, just put my hand up here, put these two guys together and then slide it on. But the problem was I couldn't get it to line up to the bolt after, and it took a lot of finagling. After like 3 or 4 times finagling, I decided, you know, I need to back up here and do what makes the most sense and put this clamp onto the turbo inlet first, lock that down, and then install this into the bracket, and then feed it in slowly, and then lock the bracket in. And that's how I was able to get it lined up. Let me show you what I mean up top. That little bracket piece right there, that 12mm bolt, is what you have to feed it into when it locks this in place. So I fed that while also guiding it down into the clamp down there, and that's how I got this guy here. So now we're installed, and then we'll move on to the next point. But it's starting to rain, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do next here. So give me a second. So, of course, in natural fashion, when you're doing an install, it starts pouring out. I don't know if you guys can tell, the camera's getting wet. It's absolutely pouring. So I need to get this filter on as fast as possible. So what I've done here is I've installed I've clamped it down, and then we're going to put the next piece on and get that clamp down. We're probably going to use, instead of a flathead, we're going to use a socket, just because it's going to be a little bit of tightened space. But we're going to get that next piece on. I'm going to do this very quickly, and then we're going to jump back to the camera just because it is actively pouring. Of course it is. That's how all these things happen. I'm going to get this installed, and then we're going to get the mass flow air sensor clipped in, and then we'll be good to go. And I'll show you guys from there. And then once I have that all on, I'll be able to pull this into the garage, and we won't be out in the rain. So once we're out of the rain, we can get the box installed and everything else put back together. I'll see you guys in a second. So this has quickly become a tips and tricks video because it's not pouring anymore, but I'm in a different outfit altogether because I got absolutely downpoured on, and it's a couple hours later, so I had to do the actual installation, and we're going to go through some of the aspects before we put the box in, because you're going to fully see that, but some of the aspects that were a little bit different from most of the media out there that I found easier to do without jacking the car up. I actually didn't even remove the front bumper. I just lifted this side of the car, so I was able to do it pretty easily, even on a hill. So a few of the aspects of what you're looking at down here is I did have enough room to install these. We're going to have to see how that stands in the long run, but if you're not doing a box, it's pretty easy. Just use a snub nose flathead to get those installed. I locked this guy in first, and then I got this one in. MAF sensor goes in once the body is in here, and then you tighten it down. The only thing that I don't know at this point with just the box is going in, height doesn't matter if you're not installing a box, but if you're doing a box, which I highly recommend, we may have to drop the height a little bit with the coupling, but we're gonna have to figure that out as we're installing the box, so that's just one of the downsides to doing the box later. This intake does have a lot of trail and error, I will be honest. Like, I've installed cob intakes before, and it's not a bad intake, right? I've just installed cob intakes where it's a little bit more like, mark the intake here, this is how far the coupling goes at this angle. It's a little bit more straightforward that way. This had a lot more like trial and error just because of the way that I was doing it. If you could jack the car up on a lift, it would be so much easier to do, but obviously don't have a lift, and I think most people don't have a lift. So it was pretty easy to put in. Everything is hand tight. Don't go over hand tight. You don't need to like crush these things down. Filter came pre-oiled. There was quite a lot of oil on it. I really like that. You do need to oil these filters fairly often, so it's just something to think about. But let's work on getting the box in. All right, so what we're gonna need for our box installation is the supplied 4 bolts and the bracket that we're gonna install before. The bracket's gonna go right there to hold the box up. We're gonna need a 10mm, I just have it on my impact driver, and our super long extension on extension. That's all we're gonna need for this. So we're gonna put this aside for a second. And what we're gonna have to do is we've got this little extension. This extension is gonna go right there, and it's gonna provide a mounting point for the box itself. So we're gonna get this installed, and it's gonna be a mounting point for when we install the box. So it has a place to mount on this side, because you have the 2 bolts on the frame rail here, and then you have the one right there. So we're gonna get that in. Gotten it lined up. The big thing that I figured out that was the big adjustment point was if you don't have the filter itself sat the right height, this won't go in properly. So what I did was I actually just took this off for a second, and again, this is just a tip for installation if you want to save yourself some time and not do what I just did. But once you get your filter completely installed and you're like, all right, I'm gonna put the box on, undo your bottom clamp and just push the filter all the way down and then clamp it back up, and you'll get a perfect installation and it'll fit right in. So what we're gonna start doing is we're gonna start feeding our bolts in, and we're really just hand feeding them because it's gonna be a tight installation. Because this is sheet metal, this box is sheet metal, it's got a little bit of play to it. You know, it's designed to have a little bit of give in every direction. And I will be honest, you're gonna have to fight it a little bit when you're installing it. I highly recommend also not dropping any of your bolts, because you're not gonna see this on camera, but I did drop one of the bolts and I had to take the entire under tray off the car, which has been the last 30 minutes of me here. Hence why I probably look a little different than I did, and it's probably a little bit darker outside because I've just sat underneath the car for quite a long time. And I'm going to focus right now because I don't want to do that again. The frame rail bolt is probably the hardest to get in. It's the easiest to maintain a hold of, but it's the tightest slot on the actual sheet metal itself. So we're going to get these all as hand tight and far in as possible. The top is just a 3/16 Allen wrench, so if you're marking it, for the entire thing, we just need a 10 millimeter, 3/16 Allen wrench, and then two 12 millimeters for the bottom to drop the splash tray, which is just going to scoop itself in, and it just sits in. Well, and there we have it, guys. We're completely installed. I know I should have washed off the factory air dam here, but it did absolutely pour and there's a lot of pollen out. But I really like this kit. It definitely looks factory. I wish that was a powder coated bolt, but it's not. But just had a weird noise in the engine. Not sure what it was, but yeah, it looks like a factory. You wouldn't really know that there is an aftermarket air intake in there. Obviously you would if you've been around these cars a lot, but if you don't know this platform that well, it's pretty well hidden there. So that's our full boxed installation, and putting the box in really allows it to get some fresh air and some cold air, or relatively cold air, because if you don't put a box in, you're just going to draw in hot engine air and it's just not going to be as efficient. You're not going to get the power out of it, and you're going to heat soak your engine faster than you would otherwise. So being able to reuse this air dam and the air plenum intake here into a box that's going to isolate where that air is being drawn from is absolutely huge. The box towards this part of the car right here is actually open, so you're still drawing a little bit, but it's drawing further away from the hot side of the engine, and most of it's going to be coming through our air plenum for our air intake here, our air intake plenum. And yeah, we're installed in the car. But otherwise, keep tuned for some first impressions. You guys are going to be experiencing me driving this for the first time off the cuff. I'll never have driven it before. I'm going to film that just now. And otherwise, thanks for watching the install. I apologize again. We did have to skip some steps because it absolutely poured, so this was more of a tips and tricks, and maybe a little bit harder of an install than I'd initially thought. I'll see you guys in the next one.